All right, boys. Tonight we are reading Ned the Nong and the Kelly Kids.
Cool.
Ned the Nong and the Kelly Kids. Chapter 1. A terrible thing happened at Matron Maxine's home for wretched waifs soon after famous Desert Dan and the Dunny men built the home's brand new Dunny, Titanic the Unstinkable. To celebrate, the orphans were allowed double helpings of baked beans and piles of prunes for pudding. It was not a good idea. Gobble, slurp, sculp went 100 hungry children as they guzzled and gorged their greedy gobs. Pitter pitter patter went 100 pairs of legs as they raced to the nice new dunny. Before many moments had passed, there was trouble, double trouble. The unstinkable was stinkable. From out of the depths of the dunny thundered gigantic gusts of gas. Methane gas, explosive gas, kaboom! The smallest room in the home for wretched waifs erupted. The noise was so loud it frightened wild beasties out of their skins. The noise was so loud it was heard in China and Mars. Kaboom, kaboom! It even woke the occupants of Sleepy City Cemetery, who were very sound sleepers indeed. In all the excitement, no one saw 3 of Matron Maxine's waifs clambering over the wall to freedom. The runaways were the Kelly Kids, Daisy, Belle, Elle, and their little brother Bruce. All their lives the kids had been poor little nobodies. Now they were going to be rich and famous. But how? There was only a handful of ways to become rich and famous. You become a pop star, a film star, a cricketer, a king, a queen, a president of the United Grapes, a duck with 2 heads, or a bushranger. The Kelly Kids held a family conference for all of 2 seconds before they declared, "We'll be bushrangers." And as they scampered through the scrub, they chanted, "One for all and all for fun. Look out, world, here we come." Chapter 2. A bushranging career was a good choice, no doubt about that. But the Kelly Kids didn't have any idea how to go about it. Before long, however, Elle had a plan. "We'll practice making scary faces," she said. "If we look really horrible, people will give us money just to stop us looking at them." "Yes," whooped her sister and brother. Making scary faces was the best fun the Kelly Kids had had in years. Daisy Bell crossed her eyes, screwed up her nose, made her ears wobble, and poked out her tongue. Then she hissed and growled like Santa Claus with a bellyache. Elle's eyes bulged out of her head like glowing ping-pong balls. She painted every second tooth green and ate licorice until her tongue was jet black. She looked really weird. The sisters pretended to be creepy monsters and chased each other, all the while squealing and giggling. But when they saw Bruce, they screamed in fright. You would have screamed too if you'd seen Bruce. His face looked exactly like a very hairy wallaby. They were about to run for their lives when the real Bruce jumped up from behind a rock. "Fooled you," he said with a laugh. It only took a moment for Daisy and Belle Elle to work out that Bruce had sneakily put his clothes on a wallaby to trick them. "You bat-brained brat," they screeched, "you possum head." But Bruce didn't hear any of the rude names. He was off exploring over the next hill, clambering into his clothes as he went. From the hilltop, Bruce saw a billabong. Beside it was a swaggy asleep on a log. The log was green and crinkly, exactly like a pound note, except it didn't have a picture of the king on it. Zzz. Bruce called his sisters over. "Do you see what I see?" he said. "Sure do," said Daisy Bell, "our first victim." "Let the bushranging begin," Elle declared. "Wait," cried Bruce. "I can see something else too." The girls didn't listen. They raced down the hill yelling, "Wake up, Daggy Swaggy, we're bushrangers." The Swaggy kept on snoring. Elle reached over to shake him, and as she did, the log he was lying on moved. It blinked an eye. It opened its mouth. It growled. It was a frightful, biteful, not so delightful crocodile. Chapter 3. Snapping its jaws like a monstrous pair of scissors, the croc charged the sisters. "Run!" they wailed. "Run!" As everyone knows, crocodiles can run much faster than children. The only thing that made this croc slower was that the old Swaggy was still sleeping on its back. Around and around the billabong raced the girls. Around and around the billabong the crocodile chased them. It was so close they could smell the terrible pong of its feet. Like most crocs, it never changed its socks. Then Daisy Bell stumbled. Elle and Bruce, who'd rushed down to help, went back for her, but the croc drove them away with a swish of its mighty tail. Eyes gleaming, it opened its mouth and lunged at the helpless girl.
Nom nom nom.
Luckily, the Swaggy chose that very moment to wake. "Buttercup, don't be naughty," he said in a stern voice. He hopped off and wagged a finger at the croc. "I've told you 100 times, Buttercup, it's not nice to eat children, unless they've been very bad." The croc shut her mouth and backed away from Daisy Bell. She looked ashamed of herself. A few crocodile tears even trickled down her leathery face. "My name's Ned Nongle," said the old bloke cheerily, "but my mates call me Ned the Nong, and this is my best pal, the almost tame crocodile Buttercup. Don't be scared. Buttercup hardly ever eats humans." "Scared?" said Daisy Bell indignantly. "We're not scared of anything. We're big bad bushrangers." "She means we will be," corrected Bruce, "as soon as we've had some more practice. This is only our first day of bushranging." "We've worked out how to look scary," said Elle, "but that's as far as we've got." Ned the Nong grinned wickedly. "Looks like your lucky day, kids. It just so happens that I've written a book about bushranging." "Fair dinkum," said the kids in wonder. "Fair dinky dee diddly id," he replied Ned. From his pocket he produced a torn and tatty book. On the cover it said, "The Idiot's Guide to Bushranging, duh," by Ned the Nong. Chapter 4. "Cool," said Bruce. "You're a real live bushranging author." Ned thrust back his shoulders and puffed out his weedy chest. "I reckon I am." "Is your book a bestseller, Ned?" asked Daisy Bell. "It sure is. I had 15 copies printed and it sold out in under 10 years. This is the only copy left in the world." "Hell's bells!" exclaimed Elle. "Will you lend us the book so we can become bushrangers?" I'd do better than that. I'll be your partner. There's no better bushranging bloke in the bush than Ned the Nong. If you team up with me and Buttercup, we'll be legends in our own lunchtimes. What do you say, kids? The Kelly kids had another 2-second family conference. Then they high-fived Ned the Nong and declared, "You've got a deal, partner." "You little beauty," said Ned, wasting no time. He quickly opened his book to page 1, where it said, "The first thing a bushranger must do, if they are any good at all, is rob a bank. Any bank will do. Just do it now." All right. "It just so happens," Ned said with a sneaky grin, "that I know where there is a bank. Follow me." So the kids and Ned the Nong and the almost tame crocodile Buttercup headed off across the Freckle Desert in search of high adventure, or even low adventure. They weren't fussy. After 2 days, they arrived at the incredible tiny town of Black Bog. The town had 1 horse, 1 cat, and 1 bank. The horse had no tail. The cat had no fur. "But," explained Ned, "Black Bog Bank is special. It is stacked with shiny gold bars." "Is it stacked with shiny gold bars?" asked Elle. Ned shook his head. "Maybe it's full of jewels," suggested Daisy Bell. Once more Ned shook his head. Is it filled to the brim with toys? Said Bruce hopefully. Even better than that, son. Ned's voice dropped to a husky whisper. That bank is absolutely packed with chocolates. Chapter 5. Daisy Bell blinked. Chocolates? In a bank? Ridgy Didge, said Ned. This is the only place you can get chocolates in all of the outback because it's the only building with a cool room this side of Mole Creek. The kids drooled at the thought of delicious melt-in-your-mouth chocolates. I must have some chocolates, yelled Bruce. Let's rob that bank! Into the bank strode Ned and the kids. Getaway vehicles park here. Would you like to withdraw some soft caramel centres? Asked the smiling teller. Ned whispered to the kids. I'll wipe that smile off his face. All I have to say is 2 words and he'll give me all the chocolates. Watch this. What's he going to do? In a commanding voice, Ned declared, Tail up! The teller folded his arms and raised an eyebrow. You'll have to do better than that, sir. I mean, muttered Ned, bail out! The teller sat down and began reading a book. What's wrong? Asked Elle urgently. I'm having a bit of trouble remembering the right words, Ned replied. It's been 50 years since I was a bushranger. The kids frantically searched through Ned's book to find the magic words, but that page had been eaten by Buttercup. Never fear, said Ned. I'll remember any second. 1 hour later, he was still trying. Sail up, mail up, pale pup, jail cup. Suddenly, a look of relief flashed onto his face. I remember. It's bail. What is it? But before he could finish, the teller pulled the shutter down over the window. Closed for annual holidays. Sorry, sir, he said as he munched a smooth, dark chocky with hazelnut ripples. The bank is now closed. We'll reopen again in a month. Have a nice day. Sudden breeze drifted through the bank, picking up the sweet aroma of dozens of delicious chocolate flavours and carrying the smell straight to the Kelly kids' sniffers. We want chocolates, the kids roared desperately. Please, pretty, please. But they were too late. Chapter 6. All the hard work of trying to rob the bank had made Ned the Nong weary. He was so tired that as soon as they reached the billabong, he toppled over backwards and fell straight into Buttercup's mouth. The croc clamped her mouth shut. Oh no, cried the kids. Ned's become a crocodile takeaway. In vain they tried to prise the croc's massive jaws apart. Please, please, they shouted. Open up and let Ned go. Next second, Buttercup opened her mouth and Ned poked his head out. Could you please keep the noise down, he said. I'm trying to get my beauty sleep. With that, Ned hung a do not disturb sign from Buttercup's nose and once more disappeared inside the croc's mouth. Do not disturb. While he slept, the kids rummaged through his swag and found Ned's best-selling book on page 2. On page 2 of The Idiot's Guide to Bushranging, it said, the next thing a bushranger must do, if they are any good at all, is rob a stagecoach. Any stagecoach will do. Just do it now. We're in the middle of nowhere, Elle sighed. I bet stagecoaches never go past here. Suddenly, Buttercup's mouth flew open and out hopped Ned. Wrong, he declared with a glance at his watch. The Cuddle Puddle Cactus Coach is due in exactly 1 minute, and we're going to rob it. Cool, chorused the kids. What's on the coach? Asked Bruce. Chocolates? Money? Oh yes, chortled Ned, rubbing his hands together. All of that and much more. The Cuddle Puddle is always loaded with lovely loot, and this time I know the right bushranging words to say. Exactly on time, the coach rumbled into view. Elle, Daisy Bell and Bruce linked hands as they blocked the road. They glared their scariest stares at the driver. Then, with a crazy cackle, Ned the Nong galloped Buttercup out beside the coach and bellowed, "We're bushrangers! Bail up!" "Oh, my goodness, golly gosh," yelped the terrified driver. "I give up. Here, you can have all my precious cargo." Ned winked at the kids. "See? Easy peasy."
Easy.
6 hefty sacks were tossed down. "You've really cleaned up," called the driver as he drove the coach away. "It's the best soap money can buy." Soap! Elle, Daisy Bell and Bruce almost fainted. They hated washing. They hated having to be clean. Most of all, they hated soap. Chapter 7. All the way back to camp, Ned the Nong had to put up with the kids griping and groaning. "Ooey pooey," they howled. "Soap? Ugh, yuck!" Ned clapped his hands to get their attention, then read from page 3 of the Idiot's Guide to Bushranging, which said, "The next thing a bushranger must do, if they're any good at all, is something very brave, such as using soap. Any soap will do, just do it now." "Does it really say that?" asked Bruce. "It sure does," replied Ned. "Anyway, I happen to like soap. You can make soap bubbles with it. You can even make a billabong bubble bath if you happen to have a friendly crocodile to help you." As if she understood every word, Buttercup obligingly leapt into the water and began splashing and spinning as Ned sang a crocodile rock and roll song. What's the crocodile rock and roll song? "Let's be brave," cried the kids as they stripped to their neck-to-knee polka dot underwear and jumped into the billabong, foamed and frothed like a giant spa. Next to pulling scary faces, it was the best fun they'd ever had. The kids were still playing a few hours later when a familiar voice boomed, "Caught you, you little brats!" It was Matron Maxine from the Home for Homeless Waifs. She'd been following them all day. "Have you come to take us back?" asked Daisy Bell. "No, I'm not the matron anymore. Now I'm a trooper. This is my first day on the job and I've made a prize catch. You'll be charged with attempted bank robbing, holding up a stagecoach and swimming with a crocodile without a licence. Ha ha!" Oops. We're up to chapter 8. "Dinner time, Buttercup," yelled Ned. "Eat that trooper!" Trooper Maxine snarled at the charging croc. "If you touch me," she hissed, "I'll make a handbag and matching pair of shoes out of you, you overgrown lizard." Buttercup skidded to a halt, shivered in fear, then turned and plunged to the bottom of the billabong. Poor Buttercup. Ned and the kids were trapped. Waving a rifle, Maxine herded them out of the water. "There's no escape now," she snarled. "You'll be sent to prison for 100 years, and I'll make sure your crocodile companion is made into croc burgers." The kids were really brave to use soap, Ned thought to himself. Now it's my turn to be brave. Ned walked straight up to Maxine and planted a sloppy, wet kiss on her nose. "Sorry," he said. "I was aiming for your mouth. Can I have another go at it?" "Certainly not, you disgusting little worm," said Maxine. "Just for that, I'll make sure you serve an extra 50 years in prison, breaking rocks with your head." "I'm going to kiss you anyway," he said. "I can't help myself. You're the most beautiful trooper I've ever seen. I thought I'd slipped on a cowpat, but I've fallen in love." Maxine blushed. "Oh, really? Beautiful. Well, that's different then. Very well, you can have a teensy-weensy kissy-wissy." She squeezed her eyes shut and puckered her lips. It was a very tender, romantic moment. "You're a wonderful kisser," she gushed. Then she opened her eyes. Maxine had a very rude shock when she realised she'd been kissing a crocodile. Of course, Ned and the kids were long gone. Chapter 9. After Trooper Maxine had hurried away to have her lips steam cleaned and vacuumed, Ned and the kids returned to the billabong. Ned patted Buttercup fondly and declared, "You're a top reptile." Meanwhile, the kids curled up in front of a campfire and turned to the final page of the Idiot's Guide to Bushranging, which said, "The last thing a bushranger must do, if they are any good at all, is to get their silly head on a wanted poster. Any wanted poster will do. Just do it now." "Yes," cried Daisy Bell. Elle grinned. "That's the real reason we wanted to be bushrangers. It's even better than pinching chocolates from a bank," added Bruce. Ned didn't understand. "What's so good about being on a wanted poster?" "We've never been wanted by anyone," replied Daisy Bell. "If there was a poster with our pictures on it, everyone would want us. We'd be popular." Elle stomped her foot angrily. "But it's not going to happen, is it? We're bushranger failures." "True," said Bruce. "We couldn't rob the chocolate bank, and all we got from the stagecoach was soap, which doesn't really count." Ned tried his best to cheer them up. "Trooper Maxine thought you were a prize catch." Daisy Bell shrugged. "But she wouldn't tell anyone about us. If she does, she'll have to tell them we escaped when she was kissing a crocodile." "It's not fair," moaned Bruce. "We'll never be wanted." Buttercup and Ned both shed a tear. "You'll always be wanted by us," Ned told them. "Fair dinkum," said the kids. "Fair dinky dee diddly dee." Chapter 10. The kids were quite happy to have the old codger and his croc as friends. It was more than they'd ever had before, but Ned had other ideas. "Follow me," he said. "We're off to see the bloke who printed my best-selling book. He owes me a favour." "What are we going there for?" asked Elle. "You'll see soon enough," Ned replied. Soon the kids were watching a printing press roll out dozens of copies of a brand new wanted poster. It had their pictures on it. Wanted. Oh, and this is what the poster said. Wanted. Bonza kids to be good mates to Elle, Daisy Bell and the little brother Bruce. Reward. Lots of fun and free ride on a very nice crocodile. Soon, as well as Ned and Buttercup, the Kelly kids had lots of good friends their own age. They were far too busy having fun to think about being bushrangers, and they never felt unwanted again. The end.